go ahead and call the Destin Fire Control District Board of Commissioners meeting to order. We're here at the Airport Road location, September 13th, 2016 at 5:30 p.m. The first item on the agenda is public comments. We ask that this is a public comment, not a question and answer period, and that you state your name and address and limit your comments to 5 minutes, please.
I'll go first.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So name and address?
Yes.
Okay. I'm Robin Baugh, and my address is private information. So, I've never come to one of these before, so this is my first time talking to this, so I wish somebody else would have raised their hand first. I really don't know how this works. So I'm non-confrontational, but I have a couple of things that I feel like need to be said. So it's a little out of my nature to even say these sorts of things, honestly. Am I speaking loud enough so that you guys can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, from what I have experienced through listening to the firefighters and through reading through public records and looking at various facts that occurred over the last 5 years, it seems like things have been kind of trending downward, and that things have been kind of not going as well as they used to go at the department. There's been issues with morale and commissioner and firefighter relations, and number of qualified applicants has went down as well, and issues with money and budget and lawsuits, and we've even had to go to impasse. And so when I thought about all of this, and I thought, well, what's a good analogy for what I personally see happening? I thought of football and coaches, and I thought of Bobby Bowden and Nick Saban and Steve Spurrier, and I thought, well, what do they all have in common? They're all fantastic coaches, and they all produced a wonderful team, right? I mean, there's no arguing that. Even if you don't vote for them, they're still really good coaches. However, before those coaches, there were people that were in their position that weren't doing as good of a job. And those people had to be moved out of the position in order for those wonderful people to come into play. Now, why am I talking about this? Well, I guess I'm wondering how come leadership isn't being questioned here at the department. And I'm not questioning being a good person, or that anybody's, nice or what have you. It's just a matter of leadership and what kind of leadership skills somebody has. And are they able to manage the department and make it run smoothly? And I think if you guys really think about it, you can say, common sense wise, things are not going well here. I don't think anybody who's familiar with everything that's going on in this department feels like things are going really well. And I understand you guys are here as commissioners. My husband works in both sides. He's a firefighter and a commissioner, and I know what the commissioner side looks like, and I know what the firefighter side looks like. But being on the firefighter side is a lot more involved, and it takes a lot more of your life and a lot more of your heart. And so when you're on the commissioner side, you need to consider, and I know he does because he's on both sides, but those of you that aren't, and I don't know which ones of you might have been in this position, just remember to consider that side as well. And please consider the leadership thing. A lot of times as parents, I'm a parent, we don't want to look and scald our child when we make a mistake. We want to look at, Billy or Sue or whatever. It was her fault. She was a bad influence. But, sometimes we have to look right underneath our nose at what the problem is and not just try to blame someone else. And I think it's kind of interesting that there's been 3 union presidents over the last 3 years. I just feel that to be very pertinent because there's a lack of relationship, and it's difficult to relate with management. And you guys are in charge of making sure that that's right. So please consider that.
Thank you. Thank you. Public comments?
Chase Stewart, 306. I actually wrote something down this time. Try and keep you on track. my wife was here, she'd be punching me to keep me home, so. I'll start off my first bullet point, and I have disappointment. I'm disappointed, as a resident, I'm disappointed as a taxpayer, I'm disappointed as a firefighter, a retired firefighter of where we are today. That disappointment, unfortunately, like I told you in the impasse hearing, is a lot more on you guys than it is on the firefighters here. I will tell you this, I don't think they are not to blame. I think they do share some of the blame, but I think most of the blame shares on the board. There's no trust, there's a lot of hate, there's a lot of discontent, there's just a lot of stuff that doesn't belong in the fire department. Doesn't belong in a brother or sisterhood, I can tell you that. The insurance part came to mind, and it was brought out to my attention, and I've read the impasse hearing, or the impasse article, where it says that the district reserves the right to select a company or provider as well as a plan. But it also says in C that the deductible and copay amounts are subject to change through negotiations. Now, unless you're negotiating with the company, whatever plan you choose normally comes with a set deductible. It also comes with a set copay. Trust me, when I retired, I shopped, and I know how much it costs. The problem that I have in that language is it says the employee. It does not say the bargaining unit employee. So to cut off the HSA cards, I don't believe, first of all, my opinion is legal. And second of all, I don't believe it's right. I don't believe it's right as a human being to do that. You guys should have been given ample warning, fair warning, let it go, whether they did or didn't. And then suddenly it comes up and it pops up. Oh, you can't use it anymore, it's cut off. I don't believe that. So, if, let's take for an example, if the firefighters were no longer union, would you reinstate that? Your management employees, are you going to pick and choose who can and who can't have that benefit? I don't think it's right. And now what you're gonna do is you're gonna require folks who have families and, or whatever now to pay even more out of their pocket. So the 3% raise that is supposed to come for whatever, that's now gone. I know you say you don't want me to ask any questions, but I'm gonna ask a question. What do you want as this board? What are you looking for? What do you want? What did you want to accomplish? With everything that happened these past few years of all of this going, what did you want to accomplish? Is it to run folks off? I think you're well on your way. Was it to have more control? Well, you've always had that through your impacts. The state of Florida gives you that right to do so. You have a fiduciary responsibility, not only a fiduciary responsibility, but you also have a responsibility to have the best fire department for this district. And that includes retaining and keeping and do what it takes sometimes to keep the best employees. Your employees are your greatest asset. They're the ones that cost you the most money. And to throw them out like trash is irresponsible. Now let me tell you what I want. As a taxpayer of this district, as somebody who these guys are going to run on and have run on, I want the best damn firefighters. Sorry, I'm still my old school. I want best damn firefighters coming to my house. I want the best management to take care of those guys. I want all of you guys, and I'll talk to the firefighters as well. Put your big point pants on, sit at the table, and get this crap worked out. Because what I'm afraid is going to happen is is that if this continues, we're not gonna have a fire department. We're not gonna have it. It's not going to be a fire department. It will be a revolving door. We don't need a revolving door. There are too many of them out there. I'll still put myself out there for any questions. Anything that you ever want to talk about, you'll have my phone number. This next round of negotiations, when it comes up, these guys need to leave, whoever leaves at home, you guys need to leave Mr. Norton home. The next time Mr. Norton tells me I was wrong, after I finished my talk the other night, I bit my tongue. That man has no right speaking to me that way. I'll pay part of his damn salary. $180-something thousand worth of it. Leave him at home. Let's find a way to get this fixed. Quit costing us money. We've got $6 million worth of money in reserves. We don't need to go there.
Shane, I got two questions for you.
Sure.
Since this has been going on, how many times have you been here in front of us?
I've been here a couple of times, Mike, and let me tell you why. It's because I've been trying to keep myself separated. Because I know what a lot of people are gonna think. I'm the union guy. I'm not the union.
That's not where I'm going with it. How many times have you been here? Multiple, right?
Multiple times.
So you know what we've been going through, correct?
I know what both sides have been
Okay,
going.
the next question. Where are you getting this $183,000 at?
I don't know, it's just the word that's out there, is what's the number? I can't ask a question. So if I can ask the question, how much does Mr. Norton cost us?
Well, I'm just gonna ballpark, don't hold me to this number, but the night that you're talking about, I think it was somewhere in the 93,000 at that time.
At that time.
So that's half.
Okay, but
Half of
where are we?
I'm just asking, where's this number coming from?
Can you clarify what year?
No.
Because
hold
you're
on,
talking
hold
about
on,
this
hold on,
fiscal
hold
year.
on, please,
Hold on.
with all due respect.
This is
I'm talking
fine.
with this gentleman.
Fine.
And I'll take this. Where are we today?
That's why my question was to you, Shane. I have the utmost respect for you. I asked you how many times have we been here over the same thing?
And I agree, Mike, and there's no, but where are we today?
You all not have financial reports that you could look at that?
Hold on, Hillary. Where are we today?
Why is it not being shared?
Why is what not being
I
shared?
mean, you have financial reports that you're gonna go over, why can that information not be shared?
I asked him two questions.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I don't know
this
where
is
you-
not a question and answer session, it's not a discussion, it's
When
public
is it
comment.
never a question?
I let this
I-
go.
I-
Shane,
I
I'll be
understand.
happy to sit down with you after this meeting and show you exactly what the dollar amount is. How about that?
We'll do it another time. I
Okay.
think that we have that
At your
opportunity.
convenience.
And I like the opportunity.
Yes, sir.
And I think eventually, guys, this is the problem, is that nobody knows. And so the transparency that we all share and love, and say this word of transparency is not there. And so that's why the first thing on my little list here is no trust.
No, what is happening is, I'm gonna say something.
Okay.
What's happening is people putting stuff on Facebook that don't have the facts, and then
And
everybody.
the facts are available.
And everybody thinks that that is the gospel, and it's not the gospel.
I don't, if you also know me, you know.
And we know who's spreading all
I
that.
read that crap, and I read it just
That's
like
why I asked you
everything
the
else.
question. That's
Just
why I
like
asked you the
everything else.
question.
It's the number that's out there. If it's the right number, then I think we have the right to know. If it's the wrong number, then we have the right to know what the right number is. Not at the time of that night, but where we stand today.
Catherine, let me ask you.
That's all.
I'll get that for you.
Thank you, Tommy, I appreciate it. I
All right.
appreciate the
Thank you,
board.
Shane.
Thank you.
Commissioner Moore, that number was approximately 114,000 at the end of July. I have not updated it at the end of August.
That's the answer.
Okay.
All right.
I have another comment about the insurance.
State your name and address, please.
Kate Milbert Christensen. My husband works for the department. I live in Santa Rosa Beach. And my question is about the insurance. When was it canceled? Do we know? Because no emails were sent out to let anybody know about it. Do we have a date on that?
When was our meeting?
Was it when we ratified the contract? Was that the end of it, or, I mean, when we did our,
The board imposed the articles on 7/28, that was notice.
So the article was the notice, is that what you're saying? On 7/28, okay. Prior to that, my husband has had melanoma since 2003. He works for the department, works on a boat in the sun quite often. And just recently, again, we had another melanoma situation. Now, who's gonna pay for that? Because we just got the bill on the 7th, which was stuff that was done from June and July. And now he has no card activated to pay for that. So how does that work?
That's an insurance question I wouldn't have an answer to.
And I just don't understand why this was done. Like, I agree with Shane. I mean, there's just, and I understand what you're saying too. There's a lot of things going on Facebook and gossip and rumors, and facts do need to be known, so that way it can be solved, these issues that you guys have. I just don't understand. I don't want issues to be solved out of vengeance or bullying or gossip even, you know, both ends, okay? I work for a local fire department myself, and I know a little bit about it, so I get it. I get where it's going, but I mean, we're all grown-ups here, and I do have the same question. What is it that you guys want so that we could work at it?
I would say with the information, if you don't mind me speaking, I would say with the information, your husband needs to go to the union representative. That's what they're there for, is to notify you what is going on that side of the table. So that would be my answer, is
It
that
just
your
seems like
representative is supposed to be
questions-
notifying you when the timelines are to occur.
From what I gather, it's like questions aren't allowed. It seems like there's no comments or feedback from you guys, or it's just deferred to
Ma'am,
something
with
else.
all due respect, we're allowing y'all to do it right now. If you, anytime you wanna come
I
here,
just feel like it's
any
like you guys
month-
are blocking us out.
But we're not. If you come here tonight, we're allowing you to speak. Come every month.
She
We
just said
want
no
you-
questions.
We will allow you to, we will allow you to ask a question.
Okay.
We will allow that.
Commissioner,
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I'd like to interject that if a question needs to be asked, Catherine and I are both here Monday through Friday. We can answer those questions. And in reference to the questions that were just brought up, I checked with Catherine. We weren't asked those kind of questions. So why are we asking the board before we ran it by the staff to provide those answers?
Okay, so let me interrupt. What I'm hearing, which is what I believe, anytime during the week you can come and ask a question with these two. Anytime, any meeting we have in here, you're more than welcome to walk in here, and one of us is gonna allow you to speak. And if you got a question, bring it to us. We're not gonna know if you don't ask us.
Okay, so the number that Catherine had was 114,000, is that the correct number that we
Yeah,
ended
I
up,
think she
as,
said it.
as
It's
of now, as
approximately-
of the July, right?
That's what I recall as of July. I have a
And then-
spreadsheet on it.
Okay.
It's, as far as I know, it's been released to the public as well.
Okay.
We've been tracking it, and it is from the inception of the negotiations. It's not all the work we've ever done with our
I
attorneys. It's
understand
from
that.
the
You
beginning of
mentioned that it's only
negotiations
up to.
Up to that point.
Right,
Has
I
not been
understand
updated.
that. Okay, and then with his bill for his melanoma, what can I do about that? I
Talk to us afterwards. That's not something that should be handled
Okay.
and open. We can answer
This is
those
health
questions for you
information.
afterwards.
Discuss it openly.
I want to interject one thing here, and it's not because we don't want to answer a question. I mean, it's so hard for me because trying to stay legal and not have adverse relationships or unfair labor practices called on you, the environment, the litigious environment that's in the world today scares the hell out of me. If I go say something to somebody, somebody can sue me. So it does play down on us a little bit. Now, would I love to talk to these guys?
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. Could I? No, absolutely not. I couldn't even talk. They could go out and talk, but I couldn't even go talk to the public during that, before that impasse here. I could not speak to you about it. I couldn't talk to my wife. I couldn't talk to anybody. That was put on us, but they didn't have that. No, they could talk to anybody they wanted to. So see, it makes it tough on us.
Very tough.
Huh?
Very tough.
Yeah, and I'll give you my phone number, and you'll have it. If you have a question, you call me. Any of these people in here, Mr. Harvey, they've called me. I've made a time to sit down and talk with them whenever they wanted to talk, but my phone that hadn't rung. Nobody's called me.
Mine hasn't either.
And my phone number's been available through the fire department. If you'll call, I'll talk to you about it. I'll explain why I believe what I do, just like they believe what they do. And I got all the respect in the world for these guys, I really do. But sometimes we just agree to disagree. But it's that kind of environment that is
agree to
hurt.
disagree, that's what happens with negotiations.
Hurt the communications,
You know?
it's what it is.
That's very
And I hate it.
common, but I just don't like the acts of the vengeance on either side happening, like with the insurance or other things, I mean. it
That's
just
not
seems
vengeance,
like-
that's what everybody's throwing around the table here. It's not vengeance.
Yeah.
It is what the negotiations
Well,
negotiate.
why wasn't employee listed in that article?
Pardon?
Why wasn't the employee, Shane, why wasn't the employee listed in that article?
It's, again, this is my opinion, guys, it's set off of that. It's just like pension. Your pension is all the employees. Whether you're in the bargaining unit or not, it's all employees. Insurance, unless you're doing a separate insurance for management and a separate insurance for line guys, everybody has the same insurance. So everybody should enjoy the same benefit.
But staff is not negotiating a contract with us.
Yeah.
I'd like to interject.
I-
Wait a minute,
I-
if I could, I'd like to interject. If it's in the collective bargaining agreement, it affects the union, it affects no one else. You can say, we can have the retirement plan and it stated certain things will take place, and if the retirement plan changes, then yes, it affects all those that are there. And sometimes whether those that are not in that group are part of that group or not, it's still going to affect them in that environment. But the CBA is the CBA, and it only covers those, and that's been the way it's always.
Okay, so would it then be possible for the unions to negotiate their own insurance article?
That's something that could be looked at.
But you got a CBA, you can negotiate just about anything.
Yeah.
Would that work?
It's done in other places, Shane. you know that.
It's done. And I just, like I said, if that's the case, then
Okay, moving on,
I have something to
Yes.
say. Hillary Anderson, you have my address on file. I just wanted to say, especially since she brought up the point that what happens for the bargaining unit is something that happens for the bargaining unit. Past practice of this board has been, when something has been given to the bargaining unit, the same has been done for the management and non-bargaining employees. Chief, you have been on record saying what I do for one, I will do for the other. Why is it now, all of a sudden, that's not the case? Management, look, anytime there was a raise given, management was also given something comparable. Anytime paid days off was raised in the contract, management was also, hold on.
I am.
When there were, changes made to the retirement, there are members of this management who are not even involved in the FRS. They are in a separate retirement and they still had enhancements because the board and chief, up until this point, has always said what's good for one is good for the department. And now all of a sudden, hey, you know what? You guys, you union members, you hard workers back there, y'all don't need this, you don't need this raise. Management got raised last year because y'all were in contract negotiations. Well, why didn't they wait until contract negotiations was over? Just like past practice has been. Now insurance, they all still have their insurance cards, but the employees that are back there, that if they weren't there, wouldn't have a fire department, they don't get their insurance cards anymore. Why is it the retirement? They all still have their retirement. Guys in the back, nope, we're gonna take that from you too. When did the change occur that it was not what's good for one is good for the rest of the department? This is why people think you're being vindictive and spiteful in the actions that you're doing.
It just.
It
what-
looks bad.
What it shows
Public
is, it's
perception
okay
is
for
it
you
looks
guys.
bad. Chief, you are on record saying,
And things
When you're
change.
done, I will address it.
go ahead.
No.
I'm
Would you like
done.
to go first?
Yeah, I guess my biggest problem, Ms. Hillary, I have the utmost respect for you. You sat up here with me for years. But you did the same negotiating that I did. You did the same thing.
That's not true.
No.
Yes, you did.
What did I do?
You negotiated the contracts just like we've done. You've been a part of it.
I have, but I have
But
never
you know what we're
nitpicked.
going through. You know
No,
exactly you've been
No,
here.
what you're doing now is you are taking, but you're still giving. How is that fair? How is it fair that you can take from the,
Because this side, we're not negotiating it with
well,
nobody.
you know what, you
We
should
gotta
probably go
negotiate.
back and take all the stuff that wasn't negotiated then before. You might wanna take all that stuff back, because past practice was if it's good for everyone in the back, we also wanna include
Yeah,
them.
but
No,
but you're
it's not,
saying
it's double
past,
standard.
And I disagree with that. You're saying the past. No, I'm sorry, but I disagree with that. It's it's totally two different issues.
No, it's not. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and pull records where I have sat in meetings and we have agreed, we have ratified increases and improvements to the retirement. Guess what? There are people in here that are not a part of that retirement, and that board that I was a part of also agreed to give them enhancements. Paid time off. Enhancements were given to the union employees. Guess what? So why is it all of a sudden now the enhancements are only for the managerial and front employees that are not part of the bargaining union? So if all these employees that are bargaining unit members, if they drop out of it, do they get the same perks now?
Nope, because it's covered under the contract, regardless of whether they drop out or not.
I mean, Chief, is this the department that you're leading?
It comes across
Well,
saying.
Can I address?
Pardon me?
Can I address, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
If you remember, as a board, in October 2015, I came to the board and asked you not to allow the staff to be held as a pawn and their wages to be held back. And I asked you to please give the non-union employees a 3% increase. Did, okay? That was the start of the separation of breaking a past practice, because sometimes you have to break that past practice, or that past practice goes on forever, okay? And the question was asked very clearly. Mr. Wilson asked me the question exactly. Said, Chief, are you separating the two groups? And I said, yes, sir, I am. And you said, well, then we need to make sure that those non-union employees understand whatever the union gets, they will not receive. And I said, that is clearly understood by those people. We did that in 10 of 15. Sometime around that same period, if you'll recall, there was a supervisory bargaining unit within this district. That supervisory bargaining unit decertified themselves because they did not like the representation and the direction that union was going. That leadership was not taking care of them, and they had a separate unit. They decertified themselves because they did not like the direction it was going. So that compounds it even further. Then we'll get, if we're going to say that we're all going to be treated the same, my battalion chiefs work every holiday. They work every holiday. You know what they get for holiday pay? Nothing. The rest of my staff is 40 hours and get the day off. They get nothing. There are times when I have multiple meetings with them in any given month, and it lasts for a while, and they'll tell you it does. You know what they get for that? Nothing. They don't get paid for it. They don't get comp time. They understand, and has been told to them, the only time they'll get comp time is when I pre-authorize it. And it is does not happen all the time. And they work significantly more hours than they're ever given in comp time. What I can tell you is if somebody works 5 minutes over 7 on a late call, they're filing for 15 minutes over. See it. Question and go, well, they're do it, but I don't understand how it works. So, the separation has occurred. I requested this separation from this board October of 15. And also, by the way, if Ms. Hillary will remember, when those times when things would occur, I would have to have the board make an additional vote. You didn't make the one vote when you ratified that contract and gave those wage increase or whatever it was, it didn't matter. I had to come back and ask the board in a separate vote to do those things, because they are not the
No,
same.
I remember that.
Okay.
Thank
They-
you.
They
That
are
was my
separate,
point.
they are separate, okay? And then I asked for it in October. That was separate from the bargaining. And
So
if
you're
I,
saying
wait a
that
minute,
you're
I'm not
going
done. Okay, and so that the board understands, our charter will not allow me to willy-nilly do anything. I cannot provide anyone any raises. I cannot provide anyone with benefits. That is our charter, and it's also state statute 191 says that the fire chief cannot do that. That's why I go to the board and ask the board to do those things. So I can't do those to those people. So when it comes time to shut a card off and they go, you didn't do this, and people are jumping at this right now, as you see, I couldn't have done it myself anyway without a vote of this board. Okay? So they're out there, they're up to here, that's obvious, but I couldn't have done it. I can't shut their cars down. Legally, I cannot do it. The only people that can do that is this board by statute and this charter. And if you were to ask me, I will ask you not to do so.
Tom, you got a young lady in the back, so that's a question.
It's in regards to the same topic, in regards to like everything, like Hillary was saying, one side gets stuff, the other side gets it. The linemen get it, the admin get it. Most departments work that way. And when you separate yourself, that's one of the concerns that we have. You know, when it becomes separated, would they be willing to give up their card? And have a $7,000 deductible? I mean, it goes back to the basics that we tell our kids. Treat them the way you wanna be treated.
I'll ask this of the board then. What was on the table for them to vote for was a 4.5% raise. I can tell you this, it was never the understanding of my staff or any non-union employee they were gonna get 4.5%. Would this same crowd be in this room demanding that my staff get a 4.5% raise? Or these non-union members? I don't think so.
I think there might be a good
I don't
chance.
think so.
But I think that it's understanding though. I mean, I think that it's understanding that, of course, they're not a part of the bargaining unit, but if you're gonna do a benefit for one, then yes, you're gonna do the benefit for the other. I mean, nobody's ever come up here and said, hey, you know what? Don't give them any. Nobody's ever done that.
Have you ever worked in a company that had both in the business?
Yes.
Okay, and what did they do?
It was pretty much mainstream. You get,
Not
No.
where I've ever worked.
No, no,
It's-
no, no,
It's
no,
the
no.
union gets their benefits because it's negotiated,
Right.
and non-union have their benefits. They don't intertwine.
That's in most private sector.
Yeah,
Most
that's what I'm
public,
saying.
most public sector, it's not that.
Exactly.
It's different with.
and you're in the
So
public sector right now.
the difference between private and public sector has to be taken into account.
Exactly.
The only thing, like I said, guys, is I didn't really mean this to be, I'm glad the dialogue is here because I think that's what these meetings miss. They miss the dialogue between the people out here and you. And Chief said it exactly right. He can't make these decisions.
Right.
I can't go to the chief and say, Chief, you need to quit this. He doesn't have that ability. It's you as the board that have the ability. And that's why we come to you or to get this or we'll talk to you.
The sad part is, Shane, look how long this has been going on.
But
Well,
why?
and underneath
Why is it
that-
going on so long?
Let me finish why, I'm gonna explain why. Because every single meeting we come here to, there's usually only two people sitting in the audience.
And that's the way it always has been, and if you go to any county commissioner
But
meeting, another one's.
That's the way it should be.
I understand.
But wait a second, if
I
you want the
understand.
facts, and we wanna get through this, we should be sitting here a year and a half ago. But we only have two people that come to the same meeting over and over and over.
What a lot of y'all forget is that I was here when there was a board that you could not speak to, period. That believed that because the sheriff's office didn't get it, you ain't gonna get it. They called it every day when the fire truck was out on Highway 98, and go the whole line, why is the fire truck, there is no call? So, I've worked for a board that way.
The good thing here is, Shane, you've known me too many years, buddy. Come on to the meeting, let's talk about it, let's make this happen. It's been going on a year and a half.
But here it is. And so, a year and a half later, we're gonna fix and go into the next negotiations. You gotta negotiate the next contract.
Yep. And, I'm gonna go ahead and because of the time and because of the budget hearing is set for 6 P.M., we're gonna need to stop and go straight to the tentative budget hearing and do
Thank
that.
you.
Excuse
Thank you all
me,
guys for speaking.
Thank you.
I think I ought to be given a chance, since I am the person who comes all the time. I really do. I think that, you know, I should be given a chance to talk tonight,
Well,
because.
you can do it, we're gonna do our tentative budget and then we're gonna come right back to
Yeah,
this
you're gonna have.
Okay.
This meeting goes to recess,
Okay.
okay? And then we've got, this is, takes priority right now, okay?
Alright, so we
Thank you.
recess at 6:05 p.m.
6:05?
Stop the recording.
Yes, ma'am.